Well, I've really enjoyed over the last few weeks sharing some of my favourite stories with you. And this is one that I've shared over many years, and it's called The Huge Bag of Worries by Virginia Ironside. Jenny had always been happy. She had a lovely mum and dad, a great brother, well, most of the time. She had a best friend at school, and she liked her teacher. And then, of course, there was Loftus. But recently, she'd been getting gloomier and gloomier. It wasn't just one thing, it was everything. She worried that she was getting too fat, that Loftus had fleas, and that her best friend was going away. She worried that she was getting bad marks at school, and she thought she heard someone whispering about her in the playground. She worried when her mum and dad had an argument. She even worried about war and bombs. Until one day she woke to find a huge bag of worries. The bag followed her everywhere, to school, to swimming, to the toilet, and it stuck by her even when she was watching TV. She tried ignoring it, but it didn't work. She tried throwing it away, but it always came back. She tried to lock it out. But when she got back to her bedroom, there it was, waiting for her. It was like a horrible shadow she couldn't get rid of. What could she do? She asked her brother for help, but he was busy with his computer game, and all he said was, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have any worries." After that, she didn't feel like asking anyone else. She knew she'd only feel stupid. Mum would probably say, "You've got no worries that I can see. You're a lucky girl. You've got your health, your friends, your family. What more do you want?" So she decided not to tell her. Dad might know what to do. But then she thought again. No, Dad had enough of his own worries of his own. She couldn't ask him. Every day, things got worse. The bag got bigger and bigger and bigger. She couldn't sleep because it kept tossing and turning beside her all night. To make matters worse, the bag dragged around her feet so much that when she was walking to school, she was late and the teacher goes cross. Jenny couldn't tell her what had happened, and anyway, she knew what she would say. "You've got too many worries. In future, leave that bag at home." When Jenny told her best friend about the bag, she suggested that Jenny locked it up in a cupboard and tried not to think about it. "That's what I do," she said. But it just didn't work. Even Loftus couldn't help. He tried his best and barked like mad, but the bag stood its ground. One morning, Jenny woke up, got dressed, and walked down the road. She'd had enough. The tears started rolling down her cheeks. She sat on a garden wall and put her head in her hands. She thought she'd have to live with the bag forever. Then she heard a voice, and looking up, she saw the kindly face of the old lady who lived next door. "Goodness," said the old lady, "what on earth is that huge bag of worries?" Through her tears, Jenny explained how it had followed her for weeks and got bigger and bigger and just wouldn't go away. "Now let's just open it up and see what's inside," said the old lady. But Jenny said she couldn't. If she opened the bag, the worries might jump out, and who knew what might happen then? "Nonsense," said the old lady firmly. There is nothing a worry hates more than being seen. If you have any worries, however small, the secret is to let them out slowly, one by one, and show them to someone else. They'll soon go away. So Jenny opened the bag. The old lady sorted the worries into groups. Jenny was astonished to see how small they looked when they were out in the open. Half the worries disappeared because lots of worries just hate the light of day. As for the rest, the old lady put some in her shopping basket to deal with herself. Some she sent packing because she said they belonged to other people. Some she just blew a kiss to. And some, she said, were worries that everyone had, even Jenny's family, her friends, and her teacher. And as for the bag, and that was the story of the huge bag of worries. Okay, I have some questions for you. How does Jenny feel at the beginning of the story? What kind of things is she worried about? What kind of things are you worried about at the moment? Have a think about that, and can you write them down? Jenny has a huge bag of worries. How do you know Jenny is always thinking of these worries? What does Jenny do to try to get rid of her bag of worries? What does Jenny say it is like? I'll give you a clue. Picture there. Do your worries sometimes feel like a horrible shadow? Something that's always there and you just can't get rid of it. It's always in your mind. She asks her brother for help, but he says he doesn't have any worries. Do you think this is true? Can you explain your answer? Jenny says that she can't talk to Dad as he has enough worries of his own. What do you think Dad might be worried about? What happens to Jenny's bag of worries? What does it do as the story goes on? Let me show you. Let's see. Can't find the page now. That's it. Yeah. So what does it do as it goes on? Jenny's friend tells her to lock the bag in a cupboard, but this doesn't work. What must you do if you were worrying about something? Who does Jenny finally talk to? The old lady opens up the bag of worries and she talks to Jenny. What does she help her to do? What does she do with the worries? She sorts them into these categories. Some disappear just because lots of worries hate the light of day. The old lady takes some of them with her as she can deal with them, and some she sends packing because they belong to other people. Some, she said, were worries that everyone has, even Jenny's family, her friend, and her teacher. So she sorts those. I wonder whether you could sort the worries that you listed earlier. There's the page where the lady's sorting them. Can you sort your worries in that way? So can you think about the worries you've listed and which, just because you talk about them, will just go? Which do you think you can give to somebody else and they can help you with it? Which are actually worries that belong to someone else and you just, you need to leave those? And then, of course, which are the worries that you think, well, actually, other people might have these worries as well? So see if you can sort your worries. When the bag of worries is opened, Jenny comments on the size of her worries once she's talking about them. How big are they then? She says she's astonished to see what? What does this tell you about sharing your worries with someone? We all worry about things. Some are big worries, some are little worries. By sharing her worries, Jenny felt so much better by the end of the story. You have shared some of your worries today throughout this story. There will be some you can talk to your family about, There may be some you'd like your teacher to know about. The ones for your teacher, write them down and send them via eSchools. I know your teacher would like to know and will be able to help you with these worries when you come back to school next week. You never know, you might find that your worries are the same as your friends. Thank you for sharing this story with me, and we look forward to seeing you back in school on Monday.